This is Crystal with Whole New Perspective. Guys, I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel. I want to thank you for watching my videos, and I want to thank you for giving my video the thumbs up. Today, I want to talk about the Winston Weaver fertilizer plant fire. I'm sure many of you have heard about that, but I want to talk about it from a different, more personal perspective. I have seen several videos online on YouTube. One was about the fertilizer shortage, which would be a further shortage of the food supply. But guys, I want to talk again from a personal perspective. One of my daughters is a student at Wake Forest University, and she lives on campus. Now, we received an email Monday night. That's when the fire started, and we received an email. Of course, I didn't see that email then, but it did talk about the fire, and it also talked about the evacuation, voluntary evacuation in a 1 mile radius. And at that time, it didn't include anyone on campus. We received another email around 12:30 a.m. That will be Tuesday morning, and it talked about it as well, but at that time it included part of the campus. But again, it talked about it being a voluntary evacuation. Now, my daughter called me around before 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, and she was telling me what was going on. She, at that time, told me that all the firefighters had been evacuated from the scene, that there was a fear of an explosion, and that there was also a voluntary evacuation. At that particular time, her dorm was not in that 1 mile radius. However, she could actually see or throw a rock from her dorm, and she would be in that radius. So she was probably 1.1 mile, 1.2 miles from that radius. And so while we were on the phone, she received a text alert that said that she needed to evacuate. And she was already in the process of evacuating. I have another daughter that lives about 30 minutes from her, and so she was contacting her to go to her house. And so one of the first things I asked her to do was to get her 72-hour go bag. She has that bag at school, and I asked her to get that bag. That was very important. So one of the things I want to make sure that everyone has for their students is a go bag. And you should have one for your home, because the firefighters actually went door to door asking people to leave. They never made it mandatory for reasons I'm just not sure of, but they did want everyone to leave. So when you're on campus and you have a college student, campuses are usually very safe. They're a closed area. They have everything that you would want. You're gonna have food, water, you're gonna have a health and well-being center, and they're usually very secure. But when you have to leave, that's something that you have to prepare for. So my daughter was able to grab her go bag, and she grabbed a few other things. Now it's dark because it's before 6 o'clock, and so it was still pretty dark outside. And that, along with the haze that she talked about, made it a little challenging. Now she had to walk to her car, which was, it's about a half a mile from where the fire actually was. And so of course it was really hazy on her way there. She was finally able to get a shuttle to pick her up as she was walking, and the shuttle did take her onto her car and waited for her to be able to crank up and leave. So I was real appreciative of that. But what I want to make sure that we talk about is having a 72-hour bag and a go bag, even for your college students. This is one that I have at home, and I have a video on a 72-hour bag, and of course she had one. The thing that's important for me to recognize right now after the fact is that you don't know how far you're going to have to walk. So you have to make sure that you're able to carry that bag and you have the necessities in there. Now it's 72 hours, which just happens to be how long the evacuation was in place, about 72 hours. So how heavy is your bag? Can you carry it for long distance? What type of health are you in? What's your health? Are you able to get out and breathe? Do you have a respirator in your bag? Should you have a situation where you have to walk with poor air quality? Those are some things that I'm certainly thinking about right now. Communication. You know, I asked my daughter about her and her friends if they could have things differently. What would they have liked to have had? And they all said much better communication. Much better communication. And I'll tell you that as parents, we received a total of 9 emails. Now, one of the things my daughter said is that because they didn't have a lot of communication, there was just a lot of anxiety. If you watched the news, all you heard was everyone has evacuated, they're sending drones in, they're waiting on this massive explosion. Everything is going to explode because that's the information that they were seeing on TV. And so we heard different things through the communication that the school was giving. Even with the air quality, you're hearing that poor air quality, you know, but then on school we're hearing that the air quality is fine. So it's just a lot of confusion, a lot of mixed messages, and that's one of the things that they wish would have been different. So when you have a situation, what this has taught me is that you're going to hear so many different things coming from all over the place. So you're going to have to, some way, be able to ascertain what is true. What is true? And then you're going to have to navigate yourself and your family based on what you believe to be true. If you get a knock on your door that you need to evacuate, will you be prepared? Do you have a bag? Will you be able to leave in your car? Will you have to walk? Those are things to think about, and I'm certainly thinking about these as it has been a personal situation, and my daughter was able to grab her bag. I'm thankful that things turned out the way that they have. I'm thankful that she does have the bag, and that's one of the things she said when she got to her car. She said, you know, Mom, this is what we prepare for. This is why we're prepared. So she was not panicked. And she wasn't panicked because she was prepared. And I'm thankful that she was prepared and she has that mindset of preparedness. So if you have kids away at college, please prepare them in case they do have to leave the campus. Not only was she able to go, but several of her friends, about 7 or 8 of her friends, were also able to go to her sister's house. And that was peace of mind for those parents, I'm sure. So we are still learning a lot more about this, and we will be making lists, and we will be diving into just to do an after action review of everything that we have learned from this. And if there's anything that I think is of importance, I'll make sure that I bring that back to you. So thank you guys again for coming along with me, watching this video from a very personal perspective. I hope that it does help you in some way. So please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, think about subscribing to my channel. Please give my video the thumbs up. And I'd really like to see any comments that you may have. as it relates to this situation. Thank you guys again.